Hello YouTube, and welcome to the first of these gameplay commentary videos that I'm going to be doing. This was recorded at 3D Shoppe in Oshawa, Ontario. If you're in the Durham area or in Toronto and feel like taking an hour drive down for another Elestrals Locals, we run our locals on Thursdays at 7 p.m. These commentaries are going to be done mainly from the perspective of, hey, if you're completely fresh to the game. So if you've been playing the game for a while, you're going to hear a lot of stuff repeated that you are very familiar with. Just bear that in mind. I am playing a version of the Kryovyrn Rhinosect deck I took into the Premier Webcam event this past weekend. I'm going to be putting up a deck profile of like tomorrow. And my opponent, my roommate Braden, is playing a Thunderwind Burn variant with some Volt Tempest decked in, that sort of stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. My roommate Braden is gonna win the die roll and get to start up. Yeah, I'm just saying the die back as my life. Yeah. He's going to open up with Ash Rabbit. This is a very, very powerful card that you're going to see a lot of in Elestrals. Its defense is 5, which is like the upper echelon of attack and defense values on a 1-cost Elestral. Combat works like Yu-Gi-Oh! So if it's in defense position and it gets attacked by a 5 attack Elestral, it is not going to go down, so it becomes very annoying to remove. And when you play it, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and add anything from among them to your hand. Extremely powerful. This is a very specific type of on-play. That is when it receives a Thunder Spirit. So that happens when you play it, but you can also re-enable that by moving Thunder Spirits onto it through other means. So this is a really, really powerful card. I also use an Ash Rabbit in set 2 and just pass it back. Just establish some board presence. I believe Braden's gonna do a second Ash Rabbit of his own. And that's gonna go through. We're just stalling out at the moment, building our resources. This isn't too uncommon of a scenario to see happen in this card game. Incredible card. Like, you're going to see Ash Rabbit splashed into basically any kind of deck. Thunder gives you access to some pretty powerful other tools that specific types of decks will really appreciate. So just like it's really great. Really fantastic card that you will see in most Elestrals deck. Anyways, I'm going to do something that isn't an Ash Rabbit. I'm going to play down Rhinymph. This is a 1/5 with the ability to expend a Frost to turn itself into basically an equip spell, an artifact rune, empowering something, and gives it -2 defense and negates its effects. And then the big insect, Rhinosect, can just special cast itself from the hand. If you have a rune that was originally an Elestral, and it's able to once per turn pop an Elestral that is empowered by an artifact rune. Extremely powerful card, but beyond even just that, its stat line is incredibly good. 8/5 is its stat line, which means that it's hitting that 5 threshold that we were just talking about with Ash Rabbit, where if it gets switched to defense by an effect, they're still going to have to get over an annoying 5 to do it. Braden just used Shield of Achilles, which is one of the common back row cards you're going to see. But against a 2-cost like Rhinosect, it's very, very costly to use. It is 1 cost and then an extra spirit for every cost in the enchantment cost of the spirit, and you negate the attack and then bounce it back to your opponent's hand. But I will be able to, I believe I do this here on this next turn, and he's re-enchanting the Ash Rabbit. So like, you can basically, like, you can, instead of doing your normal cast, you can put a Thunder Spirit underneath a spirit from your spirit deck underneath an Elestral that's already there. So you can do that to just naturally, through game mechanics, reactivate your Ash Rabbit if you really need to dig for something. But that Rhinosect that got bounced to my hand, I'm going to be able to just play down Misenchanted. I think I might have put a Water Spirit as the second spirit on this. So the spirits that you put on Elestral don't have to match the symbols you see in its cost. If they are mismatched, it will be considered misenchanted, which means that it does not have any of its text, but it's still a body with its stats on the board. So in the case of Rhinosect, when you're usually only getting one use out of that destruction ability, it is very, very handy to misenchanted. And misenchanting can give you other benefits because there are certain powerful cards that will only affect things that aren't enchanted with a specific element of spirit. So, for example, if you misenchant something with water, it will not be able to be switched to defense by a very powerful counter rune called Tsunami, which switches every Elestral on the board that is not water enchanted to defense. So you can be facing down like a 3-4 Elestral board coming down on your face, and you can, if you just have water spirits on something that isn't even necessarily water, you're able to avoid that and be completely fine. Now, the other half of my deck here is the Kryovyrn stuff. Kryovyrn is a 1/3 1 cost that gets +1 strength for every Frost Spirit I have in my graveyard, and then can special send into a Kryovyrn, a 7/4 from my deck, if it ever hits 6 or more strength in the main phase. So I'm able to do that. Just get another big guy on the board. Misenchant it with a water because Kryovyrn's effect is really mainly irrelevant. You're only going to be going for it in some specific scenarios if your deck even has the card that you would need to take advantage of it at all. So you'll often just see it misenchanted with a water spirit, so that it becomes immune to Tsunami, like I was just talking about with Rhinosect. Brandon is going to use Earthquake here, which is the premier removal card in Elestrals. It is just a basic, you pay 2 Earth Spirits, you target and destroy any Elestral on the field. It is the reason that people are often splashing into Earth. You will often see 4 Earth Spirits in a deck, just so that they can get 2 uses out of Earthquake without having to heal up at all. He is going to put down Verituka, which is a very annoying Elestral that when it enters battle with something with the same number of spirits or less on it, it will just instantly kill it. But I'm going to be able to clear it instantly with Cryoblast, which is one of the best new cards Frost got out of this set. Cryoblast is a crazy card that targets any non-Frost enchanted Elestral and gives it -2 defense until end of turn, and then we'll just kill it. It'll just nuke it. I'm gonna do a bit of a backtrack here in a moment, but I put down my Divine Rune, the Frost Divine Rune, Kyone, which is able to disenchant a Frost to get back any 1-cost Frost. Yeah. I realize I'm not gonna have the back row slots to do my Rhinymph play, so I just back up a bit. I replace one of my back rows with Kyone, because unlike Yu-Gi-Oh, that's the thing you can do here. If your slots are full, you can just play a rune on top of another, but you cannot do that with Rhinymph specifically. Quick addendum here, this play was in fact illegal. You do need a full rune row to be able to replace anything. You can't just replace stuff when you only have 3 on the board. But there would have been a proper way to do this. I could have just played Kyone with only 1 spirit on it, then disenchanted, Kyone falls off, and now there's a slot for Rhinymph to go into. But just want to give that quick addendum. But here I drop the Rhinymph, and then I just have 2 Rhinosects in hand, so I just drop both of them. This puts me down to 1 spirit, so if he is able to deal with this, I will actually be in pretty big trouble. Also, I'm so low on Frost Spirits at this point that I have to misenchant both of these Rhinosects, so I can't just destroy the Ash Rabbit with effect. He is down to 7 spirits at this point, so I'm just kind of hoping that the double Rhinosects with their beefy 8/5 stat line will be enough to clinch the game for me. He is going to shield one of them. Shield is very powerful, but it can be very costly on these big 2-cost bodies. That's going to burn him for 3. I believe that puts him down to 4, and yeah, he's just going to scoop there. Going into game 2, he again takes first because he lost the last one. And he is going to open with Toxiswarm. So this deck uses two clones of basically the same card. Toxiswarm and Toxeon are both these 4 attack, 1 cost spirits in Thunder and Wind respectively, that when they receive their respective spirit, they just burn your opponent for 1 instantly. Decent stat lines, cheap to play, and just generally like very solid cards. Yeah, I'm going to use Pot of Greed, Nectar of the Gods, which is 2 spirits to draw 2 cards. A very nice card. It can have some really good applications in this Frost deck, where I'm able to use it to fill up my graveyard, my underworld, sorry, with Frost spirits so that I can get Cryoling online. And then I had Cryoblast again, so I'm able to just clear that Toxic Swarm quickly. I'm going to put down this Cryoling a bit early. I don't believe I have anything better to play in that hand. But it's still going to be like, I believe I have 3 Frost Spirits in the grave right now from the Nectar and then the Cryoblast. So it's going to be a 4-3. So its stat line is still pretty decent. And I have 2 back rows to back it up. And then like if I use one of those back rows for like 2 or 3 costs for like a shield or a poison tipped arrows, which is basically a delayed trap hole, I'll be able to have it up at 5 for my next main phase. But he just earthquakes it. And he drops the Thunder variant of Toxic Swarm Toxeon to burn me again. And then he's going to swing in for 1. And I'm just going to take it. It's like, I could use one of my counter runes here, but it's like that's going to cost more than I'm taking. And it's not going to deal with actually deal with the problem here. If I like bounce it with the Shield of Achilles, he's just going to play it down again next turn and get to burn me again. He could re-enchant to do that, but like it's not super worth when I have to pay 2 for that Shield of Achilles. But I had another Cryoling in hand, so I just dropped that. Get the Special Ascension into Kryovyrn now. Yeah. Get the Special Ascension into Kryovyrn, and that's going to be able to swing over. He is going to use Tsunami in a weird play. So my Kryovyrn is misenchanted with a Water Spirit already, so it can't be switched to defense by this Tsunami's effect. But he wanted to use it to switch his Toxeon to defense. Basically, when an attack position Elestral defeats another attack position Elestral, you only deal damage equal to the difference between the spirits under them. So since Kryovyrn has 2 and Toxeon has 1, he would have taken 1 damage. So he used the Toxeon instead to switch it to the Tsunami instead to switch his Toxeon to defense, so he wouldn't take damage. But it's like, I don't feel that was a very good use of it, because like he still took a damage effectively from having to pay for the Tsunami. He also used Ambrosia. This is like a stable 3 of you're going to see in every Elestrals deck. It is 1 cost. Put any 3 spirits from your underworld back into your spirit deck. So you're healing 2, and it's going to allow you to refill on important elements that you might be splashing in, and you might need some more of depending on how the game's going. I put down Frostmite. Not really important what this thing does. It's just it has a once per turn ability to drop something's defense by 5, which has some nice synergies with Cryoblast. It also means that rabbits are never safe, because I can just go, okay, this is going to drop it to 0 defense, and anything is going to be able to walk over. I like the card, but like it's probably something that's going to be coming out as I refine the deck. Yeah. So he puts down an Ash Rabbit, and that Ash Rabbit is super not safe because Frostmite is going to be able to drop its defense, and now both of my guys will be able to threaten it to clear it. So like it's almost certainly going down, especially with the Tsunami immunity. But here I'm just going to take the safe option so I can get it in face damage. I'm going to use Cryoblast because the Rabbit's defense is now 0 to just take it out. And then I'm going to ascend the Frostmite into a Rhinosect. I believe this is misenchanted with the Leviathan, so it is also immune to the Tsunamis if he has any, and just swing in for 4. He's going to take the first one, and then I believe he is going to shield the other one. Yeah, we lose a bit track of here of which one we swung with first, so there's a bit of confusion here. But yeah, we shield the other one. This leaves me in a very, very profitable position because I'm like, okay, I've dealt 5 damage on this turn, and I'm still in a pretty commanding board position. I still have a decent amount of spirits left in my deck. So like, yeah, he's gonna resolve another Ambrosia. We're just gonna heal him up, help him stay in this game. But like, I'm still in a very good good position on board. Still have this 8/5 that he has to deal with, or is just going to keep blowing up his stuff. He's going to use the expend to draw mechanic. So instead of doing your normal cast or your normal ascend or a reenchant, you can instead give up all of that to lose one spirit from your spirit deck to draw a card. This can be useful in like a variety of scenarios, like if you just don't have anything you need to dig, or if like sometimes if you're going first, you're like, I don't have anything that's really good for a turn 1 play, so I'm just gonna expend to draw. I don't care if I just eat a hit. I've done that quite a lot in Frost because it's just like, okay, this is gonna help me set up Frosts in my underworld, so it's fine. And like there's some other scenarios where you do it, but I'm gonna play down the Ash Rabbit. Get to look at my top 3. He had another shield, so he's going to shield my Rhinosect. But if this Ash Rabbit does not get cleared, I'm going to be able to just ascend the Rhinosect again because it's just in my hand. It is not dealt with. But I'm going to let the Verituka just take out the Ash Rabbit. I believe I let that through because I have some play to get to a 2 cost on my next turn. It's either another Cryoling or a Rhinymph. I Cryoblast the Verituka first. I believe that's my 3rd Cryoblast of the game. Card's crazy. And yeah, I just had a Cryoling, so I'm able to go into Kryovyrn. And yeah, at that point, he had only 2 life remaining. I'm going to put up on the screen real quick my deck list and the deck list we were running for this Electric Wind Burn deck. We have refined both of these since then, so like we may build up deck profiles in the future, but this is what the builds were at this time. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and look forward to more Elestrals content. With that, this is Hunter Surge signing off.